Hi, let's chat while we look at treasures. Now, some of my kids think I'm a bit of a Hector the Collector. I'm not going to lie. I do save things probably that I shouldn't for too long because I'm very sentimental. And I am also one of those people who thinks, but I might need this sometime. And I'm not a hoarder. I do eventually learn when I have to let go of something or that sometime is never going to come. I've been doing a lot of that kind of sorting lately. But there's some things I just am not quite willing to let go of. And many of the times that it happens, I'm glad I didn't. There are times when I have let go of things and I wish I wouldn't have. And then some that I still need to just toss. It's just a matter of ambition and getting around to it. So anyhow, I have been watching this YouTube channel, and you may have heard of it, Duncombe House Diaries, but a young couple that are remaking the hard way an old country manor house, a 300-year-old house in England. And it's very entertaining, but in a weird sort of way, and inspiring. It's inspiring for me going through stuff, having to fix things around our old farmhouse and things like that. But one of the things that's funny on it, and by the way, author Lori Benton posted about that show, and that's how I found out about it. And she said it just drew her in, and she just enjoys it so much. And I thought, oh, we're kind of kindred spirits in the things that we like. I've come to find out, and so I had to watch it, and now even my husband watches it. But I digress. I got ideas from this show. One of the things that these characters on this show, the husband and wife, they're young. I don't know, probably in their early 30s, maybe late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s. I'm not sure. But they don't always agree on what they should keep and what they should toss. This house that they are saving was chock full of stuff, and from decades and decades and owners and owners and owners through this family history, and stuff that just never got to, and they have buildings of stuff, and they little by little are going through places and sorting, and the things that she decides to keep, he's always like, oh, I didn't think you'd be interested in that. And she's like, oh yeah, this is really cool. But he is the real Hector the Collector. He keeps the most random, weird things. And she's always like, seriously? We're going to squirrel that? That's what they call it, squirrel, or some word for toss. I can't think of what it is. But it's something they say over there. But anyway, it's funny. And they find some really old debris that maybe turns up a treasure. Sometimes it is debris and they keep it anyway. But anyhow, so my husband and I, about 12 years ago, we had a big pole building that was our garage, and it was where we stored everything. When we moved to the farm, everything extra went into that building. And then when we began remodeling, the cupboards we were going to put in went into that building. All the ski equipment from our kids growing up went into that building. All the farm equipment went into that building. Everything was in there, including, a tractor and workshop stuff and a truck and just all kinds of stuff. A couple of trucks, actually. But in the winter between 2014 and 2015 was horrendous. And many buildings all over the county collapsed. And unfortunately, our pole building was one of them. And the reason being, it was metal, and it had a metal roof like this. And every year the snow would slide off. And we were just getting mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains of snow. And my husband worked for the county at the time, and he was working practically around the clock out plowing highways. And he didn't have time to deal with it. We hired a fellow young man to come and shovel off our roof on the house because it was getting to be too much. But we were expecting the snow to slide off. Well, in that previous summer, we had put a lean-to on the side, and the lean-to to park some equipment under, and the lean-to, the header on the lean-to, as the snow began to sag toward that lean-to, it pulled on that header. And when that header pulled, it pulled with it the header on the other side inside the garage. And it just weakened the structure and down it came. So we lost a lot of stuff. And our insurance wouldn't insure that building because when it was built in whatever year they built it before we moved to the farm, eons ago, they didn't have the trusses close enough together. So the trusses would have been fine. They were like 2 foot wide. The trusses would have been fine had we not put that lean-to on. But with the lean-to, it was just a little bit too much. And there was probably 3 feet of snow. There were tons of snow on the roof, put it that way, tons. And it collapsed. So thus began the project of ripping it all down and scrapping the metal and scrapping most of the things we owned inside, and then clearing that all out of there. And some things got squirreled away in other storage. And recently we had put up a new garage, not a new garage. We built a new building and new to us, another long story. But anyway, we've been going through the stuff we had set aside in storage. And one of the things that I saved, and which came with us to the farm full of stuff when we moved here in a big hurry, was this old trunk. Now let me show it to you down here. Here it is. This old trunk. It was kind of latched, and I think something shifted on the back. The hinge on the back shifted or something. And I told my husband, I said, I think I know what's in there. I think there's like old memorabilia in there of different kinds, and it's probably no good. And I have peeked, and I'm like, oh. And so I thought, well, I'm going to wait. I'm going to have to sort through all this, and maybe I'll throw 99.9% of it away. But maybe some of it I'll have to keep. And then I have to decide what to do with the trunk. Like I said, I think the hinge, let's take a look here. The hinge on the back is bent out here. Can you see that? Right here, the hinge bent out. And I think we can fix it, though. We can just pound it in. And what does it say? It says Mr. Looks like it says Mr. Dad 121 FA. I don't know. It's some old Army trunk, and I don't even know. I don't even remember where we got this. We've had it for, well, put it this way. We moved to the farm 35 years ago-ish, and it's been in storage since then. Crazy, I know. But anyway, I would like to strip off all this old crusty tar paperish stuff off the top and see if the wood is any good underneath, who knows? And maybe clean these up. Maybe we can use it for something interesting. I don't know. But I think for starters, I have to grab a garbage can. I forgot to grab it. I hope it's not full. So I'm going to begin by opening the lid, showing you what the inside looks like, and then we'll chat while I do a little sorting. I won't make you sit through the whole thing, I'm sure. But ready? Are we ready? Let's see what's inside. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. It is a pile of papers that have been tossed around. Looks like books, looks like all kinds of crazy things. And I'm going to just grab some of it. Let's see. I think I'm going to try to adjust this. I don't edit videos. I just do them. So you have to put up with me. Nope, that is not going to work very well. Here, we're going to come back up and lower it down and see what we can see. Now, the first thing right on the top, I recognize. I haven't seen it in years, but I recognize it. Do you remember Artex paints? Do you remember when people did a lot of decorating? It was a thing back in like the 70s. There were people who just decorated with Artex paints and did art. And this is an old Artex paint thing that my sister-in-law gave us when we got married. And it's got some hillbillies on it. It says, Our Hitchin' Day. And down at the bottom, it says, Jeff Mush and Naomi Manz, M-A-N-Z, that was my maiden name, was, W-U-Z, united in matrimony on December 31st, 1980. So we're coming up on the big numbers here. At 4:00 p.m. at the Moravian Church by Pastor Buckman. My grandparents were Moravian, and they had given property for a church to be built out by their farm, at their farm. And we got married in their church. And my pastor growing up was a very evangelical Lutheran pastor who eventually became a pastor of an evangelical free church. I think he was just a little bit too evangelical for the particular branch that he was in of the Lutheran church. But of course, this is a treasure. It smells a little stored, and I'm gonna have to see if I can clean it. And that's a treasure, because that is something to remember. Our Hitchin' Day. Now, a lot of this other stuff in here, I have. I won't go through all these with you, but I have a whole bunch. I see spread around here a whole bunch of some wedding cards and even an anniversary card. And I'm going to look through those on my own time. A 1983 Burpee Gardens catalog. Wow. I think it would be kind of interesting. I'm going to toss this, 1983, but before I do, I may have to look up and compare the prices of the Burpee Garden catalog back then to what some of the things are selling for now. That'll be interesting. So, now look at here. Empty box of bus fuses. Do we use those anymore? I think not. So, these are RSVP envelopes from our wedding. I can toss those because they're just little envelopes. This was a gospel track. It looks like it's in Spanish. It's pretty crusty and mousy. I think I shall throw that. Oh my goodness. Back in the day, I have some weird things in here. This is a painting, a watercolor painting. Now, I want you to know that, yes, I did this watercolor painting. I am not artistic at all, as you could probably tell with a good look at that horse. But to my defense, I have to say, I did this painting in 5th grade. I had a very artistic teacher in 5th grade. And here's another one on the back. Oh my gosh. This is symbolic of all the things that have to do with Easter. And again, this is 5th grade. A hand that shows the nail prints, palm branch, a chalice from the Last Supper, the old rugged cross, the rooster crowing 3 times, money given when Judas betrayed Jesus, nails, a spear because one of the soldiers wanted to make sure that Jesus was not still alive, the blood he shed, the crown of thorns. I think that is a pretty cool painting. And I remember our teacher going step by step with, now you want to do this and you want to do that, and showed us all the things, how to cast the shadow. It's pretty remarkable. I'm going to keep that. And I may even put it in a poster board or something, frame, and put it up at Easter time. Well, we don't know about this one. But that's definitely a save. Oh, now what do I have here? I have a whole stack of RSVP cards for our wedding. But one thing I will keep, I'll toss those, but one thing I will keep here is the actual invitations. We had to fold them ourselves. We had our invitations done at the college we were attending. We had them done down in the print shop of the college we were attending. And we were very particular at the time, I remember, and I would be so today, about making sure that our wedding was going to glorify the Lord in some way, in any way that we could. And so we chose this. We had a whole, just like if you go to any, well, you don't go to print shops anymore. Nowadays, what do? You design everything online, and you can do it just exactly how you want it. But we didn't have those options back in 1980. And we chose this because of the cross, the sunset, and it said, "We love in the light of His love." In the spirit of Christian joy, Naomi Dawn Mans and Jeffrey Lee Mush will vow their lives to one another forever on Wednesday, the 31st of December, 1980, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Their families invite you to join them in asking God's blessing upon this holy union. Saratoga Moravian Church, 52nd Street and Evergreen Avenue, Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. Yes, December 31st. We got married on New Year's Eve. We thought maybe it would keep some of our families out of trouble, family members, but we didn't stay up all that late. It was a long day, and we had an ice storm the night before, or the day or two before. So that's our wedding invitation, and there are a few of them here, and I'm going to treasure those forever. I can see why these were the things that I saved. You know, that would mean something to me, and they do, because, you know, as I said, you know, I'm sentimental, and maybe some of my grandkids will be sentimental too. This I don't need anymore. This is a notebook from when I was in high school. It's a steno notebook, but they don't even make those anymore. I don't even know. But this is notes from my photography class on the viewing system, back when my handwriting wasn't all too bad, how to operate my camera. Oh, there's actually a lot of good pages in here. Sometimes when I have old notebooks that are like half full, I'll rip out all the pages. I'll rip out all the good pages and save them for my grandkids to write on. So let's see. Oh, you know what this is? It's a book about what to expect when you're having a baby, delivery and beyond. And this was something we had when we were having our firstborn daughter, Evan. And she is now, holy cow. Look at the picture. It's so old school. She was born in 1983. She is 43 years old already. Unreal. I guess I can pause that. I have a book here, Protected by Angels, a fascinating account of the ever-present ministry of angels, God's special agents. Not sure if this was a good one or not. You know, there's a lot of misinformation on the subject of angels. And on that account, I am going to take this moment to say that when we leave this world, we nor our loved ones do not become angels. We do not get wings. We have a tendency to say, oh, my so-and-so, my grandma, my mom, my brother, my sister, my child, got his angel wings. No, he didn't. No, she didn't. We don't get angel wings. Angels are created beings, and they're not the same as us. God made us unique. He made them unique. We don't become angels. We don't fly around, and we don't zoom around, and we don't become God's messengers and God's special protectors. We are with Him in heaven. But I will take a look at this book and see if it's any good. Maybe it is. Who knows? I don't remember that I ever read it. Vessels fit for the master's use. Oh, this was probably a woman's retreat of some kind that I went to years ago and saved that. More wedding cards. I'm just going to, as I come to wedding cards, I'm just going to pop them down here in a little stack, and I'll look at them later. people I don't even think I remember. Unbelievable. Some I do. Here's a good one. Gospel tract, Will the Church Go Through the Tribulation? And by the way, no, it won't. By Radio Bible Class. That's a good one. Here's some more of those Spanish gospel tracts. I'll see if my son wants them. He speaks Spanish and he meets a lot of Spanish people that could maybe make sense of that. No idea. Oh, back in the early 80s, we tried our hand at Shackley. Do you remember Shackley? Is it still a thing? I don't think so. Yeah, Jeff and I were never that kind of, we encourage entrepreneurship in our children, but we were not that kind of entrepreneur. The care and development of your baby. Isn't that fun? Oh my goodness. I'm going to a baby shower tomorrow for my niece. It's her third. She's a modern gal. I wonder if she would get a kick out of that. You never know. You might think it's the weirdest thing I've ever come up with. What in the world? Christmas cards. Well, anyhow. Oh, thinking of you and remembering something I know I want to do, which is this little gift for the occasion. I don't remember what this is for, but there was a little, it's from Grace. There was a little old lady when we were in our 20s who we attended the same church. She was in her 80s, and her ministry was to send people cards of encouragement. And all the little kids in our church, when they had a birthday, she would put $1 in a card and send it to them. And my daughter and my oldest kids remembered that. My daughter especially, she remembered how excited she was that that little old lady at church would give her $1 in a card. And I'm going to share that with her because she will remember that. More of these, more things, lots of random papers and things that are just not important. I can't imagine what some of this stuff is. Rock music. Anyway, the Shackley Confidential Price List and Catalog. And these are mildewy and gross. And an old Our Daily Bread. I read the Daily Breads every day. And they are still good. And I've actually saved quite a few Daily Breads. I want to keep them in my house because if the Lord, I shouldn't say if, when the Lord returns, there may be people looking for truth. And I keep them on a neat little row on my bookshelf. I might take a look at a couple of those before I toss it. Here's envelopes for my wedding invitations. Oh my goodness. We were having a luncheon following the ceremony in the church parlor. Cocktails would be served afterward at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Ron Mans. We did not want to have cocktails served afterwards, but my mom and dad wanted that. And we just wanted the luncheon following the ceremony. And weddings nowadays are just so big and so overblown and so expensive. And they don't have to be, you guys. You don't have to decorate the entire building. You don't have to decorate all the buildings. Just go to the church, have a wedding, or wherever your venue is going to be, have a wedding. And don't worry about, these are some old film, which I think are probably ruined, but I used to save all the film from pictures in case they got lost. And I'm just curious as to what the pictures are of. And then I'm not going to keep that. Don't worry. I'm not going to hector it away. That's going to be my new saying. Do I hector it or do I haze it? There's another steno book. This one looks to be my husband's. It looks like he was taking, they could have been church notes, but I kind of doubt it. It might have been from when he was taking a class. He was telling me the other day about he doesn't feel very confident when it comes to academic things. He's very smart, but he's kind of ADHD, and he had a hard time. College was not his cup of tea. But he was talking about how when we went down and spent a little bit of time taking a couple classes in Bible college, and he took an intro to like an Old Testament or New Testament survey or something, and he did very well with it. And he was talking one day about how, this was just like this last week, he was saying, when we took that class way back in the day, there was a girl that said, wow, you did really good on that. I am going to copy your notes. You're the one I have to copy. She was jesting, but the thing of it is that he was like, what? He thought it was a very simple class. And I got to tell you, it was probably the beginning of the years when things were getting a little more dumbed down at the college level. People coming out of high school just hadn't always, and still don't, I don't think, learn what they always need to know. Now, some kids, very academic, they are achievers and can take those difficult courses and things like that. But, it isn't what it used to be, academic achievement, and especially at the high school level. And we had been grounded, not in school, but in our church that we started attending right when we first got married, and we were young. I was only 19. I had just turned 19 when we got married, and he was a year older than me. And our pastor took the time to disciple us and teach us and train us. He would let us sit up at his house till 3 a.m, sometimes on a Saturday night, until he'd finally say, you guys, I got to preach in the morning. You got to go home. There were several. It was a small church, and he really taught us. Oh, here's a classic. Hal Lindsey, The Late Great Planet Earth. That is a classic. Got to keep that one. I need to reread that. Alternative birth services. I was considering home birth. I remember that. I'm glad I didn't, because that could have been a catastrophe. But anyway, lot more random, tons of RSVP envelopes. I guess I didn't expect people to RSVP, so I didn't send them all. Well, and we didn't send out very many invitations. In the end, we sent out less than 40 or something like that invitations, 45. What? Get this. This is my husband's. I know we have a copy of, like, a poor copy. We had to get a new copy because we had no idea where this was. This is my husband's birth certificate. How crazy is that? The things you uncover, I'm telling you, them people on that show, who knows what they're going to uncover. This looks like a little book about faith. Looks like it was published in, wow, by Creation House Publishers, if you remember that, 1971. And does it not look like a book from 1971? It's got all the 1971 nuances. And I don't know where I got this book. Who knows? I might have got it at a rummage sale, or somebody might have passed it on to me. But it once upon a time belonged to somebody named Wilson Clark, who died on Sampson Street. I think that is in the town we used to live in. Sunday services, 10 a.m. The special officiant's name. Call Tuesday at funeral home. I don't even know. I don't even know what to tell you about that. Another copy of Will Church Go Through the Tribulation? And what is this? It's a birthday card. This is not merely wishing you a happy birthday. It's also wishing you Merry Christmas, Happy Easter, Happy Halloween, Happy Groundhog's Day, joyous 4th of July, Happy Sweetest Day, Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Hanukkah, Happy April Fools, Happy New Year. El Cheapo strikes again. This is from my aunt and uncle, my cousins. I have to send her this picture. And it says, Dear Naomi and Jeff. Oh, she has nice handwriting. It's in pencil and I can still read it. Hope all is well with both of you. I hear you're very busy. Take it easy. Try to slow down and savor each day. They are best for you right now and can only get better if you choose it to be. Don't let standards boggle you. Hope to see you soon. We miss your smile. Let us know if we can ever help you with anything. Have good days. Love, Aunt Helen. Aunt Helen, thank you. That is refreshing to read even now. A page from a book, a birthday wish for, this was a card that Jeff bought for his brother Rick and started writing it. Actually wrote a message. I've been so looking forward to you coming up. I hope you'll enjoy your stay as much as I. Love, Jeff. And he never sent it. And his brother Rick has passed on now, and I know that this might stir memories. Little diet book. We don't need that. I'm getting quite a ways through some of this. I suppose I should be careful since I did find... I was going to just chuck some things that look like a pile of mess, but you never know. I might find another birth certificate or something like that. Some of these things I'm just kind of whizzing through as we chit-chat. You know, what do you do with your treasures? You know what this is? It's a page. I don't know what this is. How to write a business letter. Oh, this is some writing economy. This might have been from college or it might have been from high school. I don't know. But one thing that there is here is a page from my old high school newspaper, of which I was a feature editor. And here is a story that I wrote, this page, called Love or Something Like It. And talks about, I remember this story, about the difference between love and sex and deeper relationships and the spiritual side of it. And I wrote that in high school. The envelope is gross, so I'm going to throw that envelope away. And I might have to share this. And here's part of it. Oh, looky here what we have. The Encounter, Wisconsin Rapids. Volume 15, number 2 of The Encounter, the high school newspaper. Little related story by moi. On the second page it says, and letters to the editor. You know, I don't know if this is the same one or not. Probably not. But they put one of these in one of those time capsules back in 1980. We had a brand new high school, and we were the first graduating class from that high school. And they did a time capsule. And I think it was in the last year or two, they opened up that time capsule. And there was a copy of The Encounter in the time capsule. I see a couple of articles by myself in there and other names I remember from high school. In fact, there's one I am looking for. Not sure that I see her in here. I see the name of one fella who went into publishing. I'm going to have to tag him on Facebook. I'm looking for my friend Michelle to see if she has something in here. Oh, I see. There was a lot of construction going on. I wrote an article about that. it's fun. Do you like to look back at your old high school junk sometimes? There's some things I do, some things not so much. And I'm not close to too many of the people I knew. I got to show this to my sister. It's a Christmas card. And my sister is almost 12 years, 11 years and 11 months younger than me. And she says, hi, Naomi. Look at this. Hi, Naomi. What are you doing? Happy birthday, Naomi. I love you. Love, Wissy Poo. Her name is Melissa, but we always called her Wissy Poo because she couldn't say Melissa. She could say Wissy. Got to keep that. And, oh my gosh, the pattern I used in sewing class in 9th grade. And I was only one of 2 girls in that whole class that hadn't sewn before. And, it was hard. It was hard. Typewriter paper. Typewriter paper. Yeah. Mousy paper. Season's greetings from my good friend Carmen. I got to just take a picture of that and send it to her because we lost track of each other for a bunch of years and then we reconnected thanks to social media. And I got to send her that and show her that. Typing class. I don't need this. Typing facts. Oh my gosh, I had neat. I'm going to throw this away, but I got to show my grandkids because my handwriting is so bad now. And I actually had pretty neat handwriting for a while. Go figure. More typing paper. This typing paper is pretty good, actually. Not for typing, but for maybe tracing. Well, it doesn't smell too bad. Maybe I'll let the kids use that. They just always like to go through. Oh my goodness, this is all kinds of examples of, yeah, this is my typing class notes and style guide. All right, whatever. Wedding, happy Christmas wishes. Oh, unused. Maybe I'll send it to you. And I wonder what that is. Another book. Oh, I remember these. This is actually a book of poetry, Christian poetry. I think I'll take a look at it. Just a Minute, Lord, by Lois Johnson. That's the same Lois Johnson that wrote all the children's books, Lois Walford Johnson. I bet you it is. I bet you my granddaughters might like this. That's kind of cool. Who knew that the next time I opened this up, I would be all these decades older? A get well riddle. Do you know the difference between a birdie and a bedpan? You don't? Well, I'd sure hate to play badminton with you. Hope you're feeling better soon. That nasty little old earaches will be gone in no time. I love you very much, Jeffers, my husband. Another wedding story. So after our wedding, we were going to go up to the Porcupine Mountains in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and we couldn't afford much. This was in the recession of the early 80s, and we were college students. We were very poor. But we were going to spend just a couple of nights up there and go skiing. That's what we liked to do, and we couldn't wait. Well, the morning after our wedding, I started not feeling well, and by that evening, I was feeling really, really icky. We spent the first night, we had a hotel, and then the second night, we loaded up stuff at my parents' house, and we spent a night there, I think. And then we headed back up north to where we were going to school and where we were living in the little town up here in northern Wisconsin, the little town of Washburn. And on the way I started getting home, I started getting very, very, very sick. And by the next day, I was in a lot of pain. I had not just an ear infection, but I had double ear infection. And I struggled with it for a couple of days. And I pretty soon had to go in and get looked at. Of course, we had no insurance or anything. And the doctor was like, ooh, that, I bet that hurts. Oh yeah, there's got some blood in your ear. Oh, you got some pus in your ear. Sorry for all the graphics. But I was super sick and I lost all my balance. There would be no skiing, I can tell you that. And I had to sleep on the couch for like 11 days. I couldn't keep to I'd be close to the bathroom to be able to get up because I would lose my balance and I had to hold onto the wall to get there. It was horrible. And I'm sure that's when he got me that card. He felt so bad for me. So we never got to go on any honeymoon whatsoever. On our 25th wedding anniversary, we did get the honeymoon suite at the Radisson up in Duluth and spent one night or two up there. And that was really nice. And that was kind of a celebration, but we never ever went on that honeymoon. Now I have here a whole bunch of the class. One of the classes I took at Bible college was called Writing in Christian Service. And we had to practice designing bulletins and stuff. I don't even know. Yeah, we had to do a whole bunch of that. And other kinds of papers. Oh, we had to get pretty fancy. I find this interesting. I do want to show this to a couple of my grandkids that are homeschooling, and then I'll throw it out. Oh my goodness, I don't even know. All right. How to write clearly. I don't need all this, that's for sure. Rules about writing and plagiarism and all that stuff. I don't need all this stuff. I just want to show them a couple of these papers that I had to do. They might find them incredibly dull and boring, as you probably are. But if you're still with me, I'm getting quite a ways down. I'm going to try to reach down to the bottom, and I'm going to wrap this up. A prayer book. I wonder why I had that. I wonder what it was from. You know what I bet you it was from? I bet you it was from when I was in confirmation. Oh, yeah. Emmanuel Lutheran Church, on my confirmation, a little book of prayers. You know, I don't like always to do pre-done prayers, but what I found is that I have a Bible called the Grandmother's Bible, and there's some little prayers in that. They really help me focus my prayers, not by repeating them, but they help me to branch out into other things that I want to pray about, and they make me mindful. So in that way, sometimes a prayer book or a pre-written prayer is very helpful. I see I have some French interpretatory stuff. So anyhow, I hope you haven't minded going through all this junk with me. A birthday card from me to Jeff. I think I'll save that. Maybe I'll give it to him again this year. And and a birthday card in 1980 from my grandpa and grandma, who would both be well into their hundreds if they were still alive. My grandma always thought of me, and she would buy me subscriptions to Reader's Digest. And she got on a bus once, and what is normally about a 4.5 to 5 hour driving trip by bus was like a 12-hour trip because of all the stops. And she came up to stay with me for a couple of days. And my grandma I was very close to her growing up. And I lived nearby. Oh, write to us, please. Oh, I wish I could write to her now. But I know that she knew the Lord, and that I will see her one day. And you know what? We take for granted that we're going to see everyone in heaven, or that people are going to see us in heaven. And, you know, the fact of the matter is that if a person hasn't repented of their sin, if they haven't gone to the Lord and confessed that they are a sinner and trusted in the blood and only the blood of Jesus Christ to take away their sins, not their baptism, not their church attendance, not the, I think I'm better than I am bad. I think I do more good than bad. All of that is going to burn up. Everything. Those are not bad things to be a good person. No, we should be. It is not wrong. We are to attend church. We are to follow the Lord in believers' baptism as a demonstration to people to know that, so they know we're believers. But counting on those things is to put our faith in works. If you're saying, well, I'm going to do those as a backup plan, you're counting on something that is good works. And the Bible says your good works are like filthy rags. They aren't going to get you to heaven. And if you want to see your loved ones in heaven, people that you know were believers, like my grandma, you got to make a step to get there. And that step isn't a work. It's just putting your faith and trust in the blood of Jesus Christ to take away your sins. And then you'll know. And if you have loved ones who have passed on and you don't know whether or not they were believers, and if you'll see them again, I think God can deal with people's hearts right up to the last second when we can't even be sure that they're hearing us speak anymore. Maybe they're hovering in between that, their soul's ready to take flight. But sometimes we won't know until we get there. But we do know that God is not going to leave us in despair. And I know that he honors the most childlike faith. He says so in his word, that coming to him is like a little child believing what their parents tell them. Coming to him is simple faith, and he will take care of that. And it doesn't mean everybody's going to be there, but it means we have hope. And my hope is that you, whoever you are listening to this video, if you listen to this whole long, almost 50-minute long video, I hope that you have put your faith and your trust in Jesus Christ's blood alone, and that I'll get to meet you in glory, because I plan to be there for eternity, and I'm going to have time to meet all the people, and I'm going to spend time with my loved ones who have gone on before me, including my son and my little child, I just call child of mine, that I didn't ever get to meet, and my other loved ones. We're not married or given in marriage in heaven, but I think that we will be good friends still, me and my husband, Jeff, and my children. We're going to be close. We're still going to know we were family here, and we're going to be even greater family there. We've got a lot to look forward to, believers in Christ. And that's the real treasure. This stuff is, speaking of which, look at this little track. Am I going to heaven? Find out inside. It'll tell us. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and you will be saved. He that believeth on the Son has everlasting life. He that believeth on him is not condemned. Believe. So, I'm getting near to the bottom of the junk pile here. I have a few more things in here to dig through, but look at how far we've come. I knew I had an old copy of this odd little Bible, Good News for Modern Man. So much random stuff. Nope, God is not through with the Jew. He is not. Naomi and Jeff Mosh. Love, Melissa. Another one from my sister, my little sister. It's got a little turny face on it. Look at all the junk. French through pictures. You know what? I tried to learn some French, but they have so many good programs now. I don't need that. Have a great day, everybody, and I hope you find some treasures of your own and that you have a good time thinking about your own memories as you go through memorabilia and as you sort and as you decide to trash it or treasure it. Talk to you again.